Hello everyone, today we will talk about dynamic controls. Let's start with an example. I'm creating a new interface with several buttons. We want to update this label whenever the user clicks on one of the buttons. Let's implement all the events. And we want to add a reference to the label. Whenever you copy and paste some code, you should start feeling uneasy. It's a sign that you are doing something wrong. Let's try it. Okay, it works. We also want to update the title, the form title. So we start like this. And quickly you can see that this code is hard to maintain. With every change we make, we need to update all the subs, and as the code will grow, it will become harder and harder. Now, it would have been nice to create a single sub to handle all the buttons. Let's change the event name of all the buttons. To button. Now we will remove all the subs and keep only button click. This is the new event name. And we will use the tag property to store the number. Good. Now the question is how to know which button raised the event. The answer is that we use the sender keyword, and we use it like this. Now we get the tag. When you set the tag in the designer, it will always be a string. However, you can set it to other types in the code. And we wanted to update. And also the form title. Let's try it. Now we can easily add more buttons or change the code. Maybe add some animation. make it faster. I should have used a variable for the duration. Let's change the text here. Oh, now it's better. The sender keyword helps us to avoid duplicating the same code. It is called the dry principle. Don't repeat yourself. And it's a very important principle which we should follow if we want to create programs that are easy to maintain and improve. In our next example, we will create a grid of buttons made of 100 buttons. Naturally, we will not use the designer to create the buttons. We will start with calculating the required width and height. Now we will create the views. This time we do need to initialize the view and add it to the root pane. Let's test it. Looks good. Okay, there's a bug here. Okay. We've set the event name of all the buttons to btn. We will now handle the click event. I want to count the number of times each button was clicked. And again, we will use the sender keyword with the tag property. I will use a custom type as the tag object. This will allow us to store all the information we need. First, we are getting the button using the sender keyword, and now we will get the data from the tag property. and update the text. Let's try it. Our next task is to change the color of all the buttons in the same row and column as the clicked button. Let's start with changing the current button color. In B4J, it is done with the CSS utils library. As it is implemented as a code module, we don't need to declare an object of that type. Like this. In order to access the buttons in the same row and same column, we need to store references to the buttons. We can use a two-dimension array in this case. However, I prefer to use a list of lists. That's it. So we have the main list here, and we create a new list for each column. Note that it doesn't matter whether we add the column list here after it is filled or before, like this. This sub will help us get the correct button based on the column and row. Like this. It will also help us store the column and row of each button inside the button data. The nice thing about using a custom type is that it is very easy to add more fields. Let's add a constant for the grid size. The const modifier means that the compiler will not allow us to change the variable's value. We're getting an error. Let's start with updating the color of the buttons in the same row. and also update the buttons in the same column. Let's test it. The row should be same row should be green and same column should be red. We are mostly done. We will just add a few animations. I'm adding a reference to the XUI library. This is a very important library and it will be covered in one of the following tutorials. And it allows us to change the color with animation. And let's test it. Okay, let's add a short delay. Very nice. We'll make it start from the current button. Could be like this. And with that we complete this tutorial.